Isometric view games are one of those classic formats that have been around forever and have a wide variety of what you get with them. It really shows just how versatile and great the format is. And there are lots of new games that have been released this year. Some are good, some are bad. So today, let's talk about some of our favorite isometric games of 2025 that we think you should check out. Let's kick off this list with RailGods of Hysterra. This, I think, is definitely an interesting one. I mean, look at this thing right here, combining that signature Diablo ARPG style with base building and these utterly Lovecraftian trains. This survival game is seriously an absolute dream. Basically, the world has been devastated by the arrival of the Great Old Ones, and you're a dreamer, inseparably bound to your RailGod, which is this kind of relentless, terrifying fusion of beast and machine born from forbidden rituals. This sentient locomotive is not just your mobile fortress, but it actually demands the flesh of your enemies as fuel, which is vaguely disgusting and certainly disconcerting, but I love every minute of it. You'll shuttle between the last outposts, exploring these gloomy, mysterious landscapes haunted by sinister cultists and nightmarish creatures, all while keeping track of your health, hunger, and, most importantly, your sanity. As incredible as this sounds, you can play solo or team up with up to 4 friends in online co-op, so you can build out your ultimate fortress on rails together, which sounds really, really cool. But yeah, if you like the premise, make sure to check this one out. Next up at number 9, let's check out Rue Valley. I mean, this one is wild. It's like a less cheerful Disco Elysium somehow, which is a big deal in its own right. So you're playing as Eugene Harrow, who is this really depressive loner dude who has to go to this motel for like court-ordered therapy. The core conceit here, which is super intriguing, is that Eugene is actually stuck in a time loop, repeating the same 47 minutes over and over again. And here's the thing that really gets you. At the start, you customize Eugene's whole personality using these weird sliders that pretty much just let you make him a bit of a jerk, which then directly affects what he can actually do or say in the game. Throughout all this, there are these dice rolls or checks going on behind the scenes that can either railroad you or just be bad luck. Even if the story is dark, the art style is absolutely gorgeous, and there's enough mystery here with a weird phone call and Eugene's past that you definitely want to see more. So coming in at number 8, we've got the Stone of Madness. This one, it's an isometric real-time stealth strategy game, which I guess is cool, but man, look at that art style. They're saying it's heavily inspired by like the works of Francisco Goya, which, I don't know, it looks really, really special. The game is set in this super dark, demented 18th century Spanish monastery in the Pyrenees, which is like a madhouse and a prison all in one. The plot is, you've got 5 characters, 5 prisoners honestly, who are dealing with their own stuff, their own madnesses and all that, and they've got to pool their skills to like uncover the mystery of the place and, you know, find a way to straight up escape. You have to alternate control between all 5, using their unique abilities for things like assassinations, distracting guards, or like stunning evil spirits, because there are spirits, obviously. You're going to have to manage each character's mental health and phobias too, because triggering them depletes their sanity and can change how they play, which sounds kind of wild. Also, the time of day matters, which is cool. Daytime is for sneaking, nighttime is for planning, but the paranormal stuff comes out, so yeah, you're gonna have to wait and see what happens with this one. And number 7, we have Survive the Fall. If you're into the whole survival apocalyptic games, you probably think of Fallout, right? And that's fair, but you should also be checking out this one. It's a base building and kind of open world adventure that, yeah, it definitely has that isometric viewpoint, which is what we want. The plot is like a meteor hit, there's toxic waste, everything's destroyed, but hey, maybe there's a little bit of hope. You're trying to look after this small band of survivors, and you've got to spin a lot of plates to like actually thrive, dealing with factions and all that jazz. I mean, the story's apparently a little dull, but if you can get past the like tepid plot and the not super exciting protagonists, there's a ton of great action, you know? You're exploring huge biomes, and you can totally pause the action to line up your tasks and overcome a swath of foes, which is honestly pretty great when things get hectic. It just looks really interesting, and visually, I gotta say, it's a gruesome pleasure. Now at number 6, we've got Eriksholm, The Stolen Dream. So this is the first game from a newcomer studio, River End Games. But man, does it carry the confidence of a team that's been working on stealth games forever. Seriously, this isometric top-down view just makes every chapter feel like an hour-long session in this gorgeous diorama puzzle box. The story's pretty simple, actually. Protagonist Hannah's brother gets kidnapped by the city police, and she sets out to find him and, you know, gets pulled into a conspiracy with some powerful people. Luckily, she teams up with this resistance leader Alva and then Sebastian, who's kind of a shy but hardened worker. You switch between the 3 of them. Hannah can use sleep darts, Alva can climb and use a slingshot, and Sebastian has the brute strength. And honestly, that's where the real treat is, figuring out how they all gotta work together. It's really cool, but I gotta say, you spend almost half the game with just Hannah before the other 2 even show up, which is a bummer because when the trio is finally together, that's when the whole experience just sings. I just wish I had all those tools for longer, if that makes sense. But anyway, this is really a worth playing game that you should check out. Moving right along to number 5, we have MENACE. I mean, okay, look at this thing. It definitely gives you that whole tactical Mass Effect kind of feel. And it's all down to those light RPG elements, which is really interesting. Basically, you're the commander of the naval fleet, and you're out there to build alliances, develop relationships with your crew, and kind of become the savior the galaxy has always needed. The actual plot is you're leading a strike force of Marines, mercs, and maybe some criminals in the lawless Wayback System, and you've got to unite the locals to defeat this strange, unknown emerging threat. This is from Overhyped Studios, the folks who did Battle Brothers, which was wildly popular, but they're pivoting here to something a little more narrative-focused. You're fielding tanks, walkers, infantry, you're customizing their kit, and then you're just diving into these deadly turn-based tactical battles. Honestly, the decisions and the way you manage your ship, the TCRN Impetus, are super crucial, and I'm kinda definitely hooked even if I'm not a turn-based tactics gamer. You definitely should give this one a look. Next up, it's Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles, and yeah, talking about this game is easy because it's a total foundation for the tactical RPG genre. I mean, Square Enix brought back the legendary creator of Ogre Battle, Yatsumi Matsuno, for this one. This fresh remaster of the original classic brings back the story of Ramza Bulv. He's like this aspiring noble-born knight, and his buddy Delita, who's a commoner. Unbeknownst to them, there are all these shadowy, complicated power plays happening in the background of Ivalice. Soon, Ramza is forced to face the fact that his high status has been totally at the expense of everyone else's well-being. The resulting tale, as he deals with loss and sorrow in his fight for a better world, is still straight up marvelous, even though some of the Final Fantasy level twists don't quite hit as hard. It still has an incredibly strong first chapter, and this updated version adds new voice acting to really elevate those already potent scenes. And of course, the turn-based strategy is just classic. You're mastering over 20 jobs, from White Mage to Dragoon, to craft your ultimate party. You can even tame chocobos. It's one of those essential works, and you can't miss it. And coming in at number 3, we've got Lost in Random: The Eternal Die. Now, this game is definitely an interesting one because for those who love the original, this is a fast-paced action roguelite spin-off, a standalone companion to the first. What's cool is you're not playing as the original's hero even. You're actually stepping into the shoes of the former antagonist, Queen Alexandra, who's been totally double-crossed and is now sucked into this endlessly looping world they call the Black Die. So basically, to break free from this Groundhog Day from hell, you gotta traverse the game's 4 unique biomes, battling enemies and all that, ultimately aiming to slay the final foe, who's called Mare the Knight. And the combat is a big draw here, man, because it blends that dynamic real-time action with this neat risk-reward dice mechanic where the number you roll actually determines the damage you deal, which is super cool. It really sets the vibe too, being described as having this haunting, Tim Burton-esque gothic whimsy. So if you're into that moody, dark atmosphere, you gotta check it out. You can pick this up and try all sorts of different builds and weapon combinations, and with multiple endings, it just seems like a really solid addition to the series. Next at number 2, it's Deliver at All Costs, a game that honestly blew me away when I first saw it. I mean, it wasn't the story or the whole gameplay loop at first, but the sheer physics-based destruction that hooked me. It looked like literally everything in the town could be destroyed, with debris flying everywhere constantly, and I was immediately interested, you know? You play as Winston Green, a courier with a fiery temper and a mysterious past, who takes this job for the company We Deliver. The missions are usually goofy and ridiculous, like delivering a giant flopping fish or a bomb, which honestly keeps things pretty interesting while driving through the town. The constant chaos and the physics-based destruction, where you can completely drive through a house's ground floor, was just so unbelievably satisfying to witness. It's hard to explain how much fun causing destruction was. I mean, sometimes just driving around and watching buildings tumble was the best part of the whole playthrough. Deliver at All Costs is really truly special, and if you're a sucker for physics, this is totally the game you need to check out. And finally, at number 1, we have The Precinct. This is definitely an interesting one because as much as I love playing the bad guy in open world games like Grand Theft Auto, I gotta say, there's always been something appealing to playing as an officer of the law. This game, announced back in June 2023, is really trying to change that unrealistic depiction of the police force we usually see. It totally reminds me of the original Grand Theft Auto games with its open, urban environment and that sweet isometric view, but what immediately hooked me was the 80s setting and soundtrack. It's just a killer vibe. You play as rookie cop Nick Cordell Jr. in 1983 Averno City, dealing with rival gang factions and trying to solve the mystery of your dad's murder, who was the former police chief. Your partner, of course, is the classic gruff guy weeks from retirement, and you're riding around to smooth saxophone beats that would make Kenny G jealous. Narratively, it's pretty straightforward. You gotta take down the gang presence by gathering evidence, arresting the leaders, and just working your shifts around the city. You can live out those cop movie fantasies with intense car and chopper chases. And I mean, you can even call in spike strips and roadblocks, which just sounds like so much freaking fun. If you love GTA or simply enjoyed being on the good side, The Precinct is a good choice we have here. We do have a bonus for you, but know that these games are not out yet. But still, it is worth mentioning since they seem to have a really good future. Anyway, first up is Peregrino. This is definitely one to keep an eye on, you know? It's an isometric survival management game, and you're basically in charge of a whole group of pilgrims trekking through this gnarly, cursed land trying to make it to paradise. You're going to be like making life or death choices all the time to guide these followers. And trust me, you'll be facing some seriously profane and grotesque abominations out there. I mean, apparently combat alone won't even save you. Your faith will be tested as these things grow stronger after dusk. Every single one of your pilgrims has their own unique story and skills, so you've got to manage their morale and needs. But remember, death is permanent, which is pretty brutal. Plus, you get to upgrade and customize your wagons, which is your only real bastion of faith and defense against the dark. I don't know, this whole grim 19th century aesthetic mixed with gothic horror and religious folklore just looks really special. It's coming out next year, March 2026, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. Next up, well, we're just talking about Zero Parades, and I gotta say, it sure looks like Disco Elysium in glasses and a mustache, you know? Like it's an espionage CRPG, and its developers are calling it a story about failure and crippling regret. You play as this burnt-out, fallen-from-grace spook named Herschel Wilk, who's been ordered to go back to this state called Portofino, where she totally botched an op before. I mean, we're talking about a nakedly Disco Elysium successor, which, hey, some people are gonna love, but it's about her going back and having to reassemble her old crew, all the people she left out to dry when she escaped. And, you can even botch major objectives and just keep going, which is the whole failing forward concept they're pushing. I'm definitely interested, man. I will play this one when it comes out. And finally, we have Witchbrook. This one, seriously, it's been forever. It's the magical Stardew Valley-like life sim that's been in development for like 8 years, maybe more. I mean, we finally got some gameplay, and I gotta say, it was worth the wait. It looks so good. You play as a witch attending Witchbrook College, where you take lessons like potion brewing and rituals, and of course, you get to customize your cottage, which is the most important thing. It takes place in this super cozy seaside city, and apart from that, you can also build relationships, maybe even fall in love, because romance is an option in this game. If you're a fan of those chill-out life sims, this one for sure is going to scratch that itch. This one's coming out sometime next year. But there you have it, some of the best isometric games of 2025. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now is a great time to do so. Don't forget to enable notifications. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.